was the first judge selection contest since the Forged in Fire competition kicked off. 4 champion-level bladesmiths showed off their skills on the same stage. What kind of sparks would fly at the scene? Considering the strength of the 4 contestants, as soon as the contest started, the program team brought out a pile of steel rods. High-carbon steel and low-carbon steel were paired up. Each contestant got one set. They were required to use the 3-in-1 lamination forging technique within 3 hours to create a distinctive short blade. True to their master-level status, as soon as the countdown began, Ben quickly figured out his forging approach. He started drawing sketches on paper. 3-in-1 lamination had always been his forte, so this time he planned to forge a competition cleaver. Ben hollowed out the mild steel directly. Then he stuffed high-carbon steel with good hardness into the gaps of the hollowed mild steel. This method was different from the traditional U-shaped cladding method for 3-in-1 lamination. Although it was full of innovation, this would slow down the forging speed. Moreover, if he wasn't careful, the steel could catch fire at any time. However, the advantage of doing this was that during the subsequent forging process, it could effectively reduce carbon migration, making the blade more solid and durable. Watching this impressive display of skill, the judges were also greatly impressed. The only one who chose the same type of short blade as Ben was Matt next to him. He also planned to make a competition cleaver. Without any delay, he threw the steel directly into the furnace to heat it. To ensure the forging temperature, he even took the trouble to seal the furnace opening with fire bricks. After getting the fused and shaped U-shaped mild steel, Matt sandwiched the high-carbon steel in the middle of the mild steel. Then he showed off another round of heavy hammering with the power hammer, but perhaps the process was going too smoothly, making him a little complacent. The next moment, he accidentally dropped the steel billet on the ground, but this was not a problem at all for Matt. After a round of hammering and shaping, the basic blade blank took shape. On the other side, Bert wanted to make a camping knife. He first welded the low-carbon steel. Then he directly threw the steel into the furnace to heat it. The 3-in-1 lamination technique Bert chose was also the traditional U-shaped cladding method. Thanks to his rich forging experience and skill techniques, Bert maintained a steady performance in the early stage. He did not make any obvious mistakes. Different from the conventional blade designs of the previous 3, Salem wanted to forge a Filipino panuti knife. He first pressed the mild steel into a U-shape. Then he hammered the shaped high-carbon steel into it. This U-shaped cladding method was similar to Chinese steel cladding. Although it was a bit difficult, once successful, the strength and toughness effects were excellent. With several masters competing on the same stage, the use of forging equipment also became busy. Each contestant operated at a fast speed. Even an ordinary hydraulic press had to be used in turns. Such a scene was also a first in the history of the Forged in Fire competition. An hour later, the contestants successively completed the 3-in-1 lamination. They began to forge the blade shapes one after another. Sparks flew everywhere at the scene. The famous scene of masters competing against each other was a feast for the judges' eyes. As time ticked away, seeing that the blade edges were basically formed to make the forged knife look more attractive, Salem specially used equipment to press trapezoidal grooves on the blade blank. This also surprised the judges. After all, it was common to add patterns to Damascus steel. Showing off such an operation on 3-in-1 lamination was the first time in the competition. With only 1 hour left on the countdown, Matt finally finished hammering the blade blank. He planned to use a hand hammer to chisel